Thank you, Mr. President. I too rise not to debate spending or taxes. We're going to have plenty of time to do that, but why we have to do this extender. And I go back to what Senator DeFrancisco said. You know, like a couple people on the other side of the aisle, I had the pleasure of serving on the committee that came up with budget reform a number of years ago. And we set a very effective process because when that side of the aisle was over here, they said they were frustrated because they weren't included. So we worked together and came up with a process, a very effective process, that would allow both sides of the aisle, this chamber, to work together with the Assembly, both sides of the aisle, and to come up with a resolution, to come up with hopefully a budget on time, and to proceed. What's disappointing to me, and as I said, we'll talk about the merits later when a budget hits the floor, but I think that's going to be a long time from now, Mr. President, because what's disappointing to my constituents, and I think to all of our constituents, and I certainly can speak, I think, for most of the people in this state right now, is that we have failed them. We have failed them because we have failed to follow the law. The law was put in place to follow a procedure to get a budget done on time. The same type of laws that we pass here every day that we expect the citizens of this state to obey. But when we pass a law that affects us, it's okay to ignore it, as if we're better than the people we represent. And that's wrong, Mr. President. That's very, very wrong. That's what's wrong with this chamber. That's why they talk about dysfunction. There is a law on the books that basically said we should be, as Senator DeFrancisco said, in the process of conference committees. I attended, about a week and a half ago, a general conference committee as my role as the leader in this House. And when I asked the schedule for the other committees, I heard nothing. At that time, I said, this committee is a bluff, it's a charade, it's just to count time, to make it look like April 1st is around the corner and we're going to do something for the people. It's very disappointing. We have not followed the law that we've passed and imposed upon ourselves to try to get a timely budget done for the people of this state. And when the other side, my colleagues on the other side of the aisle were sitting over here, they whacked us for it. And you were right when you did it. And now you deserve to get whacked by us. Because unfortunately, the law that you agreed to, that you passed with us, as the majority in this House, you're not following. And that's wrong. What comes out in the budget and how we vote on the budget, that's a whole other story for another day. But we should be in conference committees working together, debating, deliberating, agreeing, disagreeing on what's best for people in this state, from Long Island to New York City to the Hudson Valley to Western New York to the Southern Tier to Central New York. And we're failing them. We're not doing it. So, Mr. President, I will vote yes on this so that government continues for another week. I vote for it reluctantly, and I vote for it with great disappointment because the process that this House established a couple years ago is not being followed.